Howdy survivors, welcome back to another build tutorial in ARK Survival Ascended. Today we're going to be building a frontier workshop or warehouse, storage, whatever you want to call it. It's a big building where you can have all your crafting stations, a bunch of storage, and it just looks really cool as well. You can have all the things you need to work with in this building and these side additions, and you could even add it to your train station as a sort of warehouse. That's what I did. But again, you can use this building in multiple ways because you definitely have a lot of space to work with. Now, before we get building, if you enjoyed these videos and you want to support me in the best way, make sure you're subscribed. Maybe even consider leaving a like and a comment. And if you want to support me even more, you can always become a YouTube member. You get early access for videos if you go for tier 2. With that being said, let's get started with the building. In order to get started, usually we start with the foundation. This time it's just going to be a pillar and you want to have it reasonably high out of the ground. Just to get us started, we're going to take some wall. You want to probably have the outside facing towards you, or the inside I guess facing towards you, and then we'll have 3 next to each other in the front and 4 next to each other going backwards, and then we'll fill it in with more pillars on the corners, so that we can add in the same as we did before to create the rest of the shape for the main building in the middle. So this is going to be a square or shape, and it's going to be 3 by 4 in total. We want to fill that in with some ceilings as the floor for our little main building right here. So this is the main shape we're going to be working with today. Then we're also going to add in some beams. We're going to leave the middle one open at the front because that's going to be a door, and the last one here on the side, on both sides actually, because that's also going to be probably where we're going to add in some doors, and we can just connect it up at the back as well. Of course, you could always change where exactly your doors are going to be if you have different needs. We want to add in a double door right here at the front and just a regular door here to the sides of the building as well. Okay, then we want to grab normal walls right here, add 2 above each other, add 1 above the door as well. Of course, doing the same on both sides. And then we can have some walls right here and at the back as well. Then we're actually going to take out some quarter walls and going to add a layer here above our door. And we're going to add a layer right here next to the walls we've created so far, so that we can place some normal walls here in the middle as well. Of course, we do the same thing here on this side as well, just to mirror what we've done before. There we go. So that means that we've basically almost completely filled in this first layer. Here at the back, we want to add in some simple windows right like this. And of course, let's fill in them with doors as well. We can fill in all the doors, in fact. Let's focus on the front for a moment. We want to add in another double door right here. And then we actually want to take out some quarter walls, fill it in like this to begin with. Because then we can actually have 2 normal walls above this shape. And then we'll fill it in with some more quarter walls to get a nice front shape of the building like this. And of course, adding in some more doors right there. We'll change the textures and the skins in a little bit. But of course, this is just a start because we actually are going to make the building even a little bit more interesting here on these sides. We're going to have some sloped walls going up like this. And then we actually also want to have some slope walls going up like so, creating this little shape here on the top of the building before we can try and get the right snap points for the last remaining slope walls. We'll see in a moment why we're doing this much crazy effort, but it's worth it in the end. So this is the shape you should end up with. Then we can actually continue up the pillars all the way to the top as well on the corners, just to add in a little bit of extra support. And then we actually also want to do that here on the side, and let's connect it down to the bottom just to make it look a little bit nicer as well. So like this, and we'll do the same thing of course everywhere, so make sure they're all raised up to the top. We'll add in some extra pillars right here as well. And do the same thing on this side too. Okay, and then actually to get the right snap point, we want to take out one of these quarter walls because we want to use it to get the snap point for the roof like this, because that will give us a little bit of the overlap on the outside. And then of course we want to just connect the roof up like this on the other side as well. Just continuing it all the way on this side. On the back you can just do it and fill it in completely. On the front we're only gonna do the side parts first, and then we can do the top as well. But for the middle we're gonna do it a little bit differently. We're gonna actually add in some sloped walls like this, and then fill out the shape with some ceilings, just to create a little bit of extra space right there. And of course, don't forget to fill in this one that we removed, just so we could fill in the roofs in the right spot. Then it's time to add in a few more things here at the front. First of all, we're going to add in some more ceilings like so, as well as some triangle ceilings to make this shape a little bit more interesting as well. So we'll have something going on like this. We actually also want to make sure that we have some ceilings in front like this, sticking one out to the side here. And then actually on the inside you probably also want to do something like this as well, just to have a little bit of a balcony going on. Then we can add in some railings like so, leave this open so that we can have a ladder going down there. And then of course we'll have some more railings. You can decide for yourself whether you want to leave this open in the front, for example if it's by a train station and you want to be able to get on top of your train, or whether you want to close it completely off like so with the railings going on. Then we're going to add in some beams first off along the top of the roof to add in some extra support, as well as along the edges. This will stick in a little bit, we'll fix that in a moment. And we'll also want to have one here on the back as well. Then we can change to pillars again and fill in this with some pillars so it looks a little bit nicer on the front here. And then we actually also want to make sure that we add in some pillars alongside here, probably all the way until they reach into the ground, so everything is nicely supported like this. And then we're pretty much done with this main building, besides the fact of course that it's finally time to start changing around some of the skins. We'll start with the window shapes because that's just easier to see. We'll add one little window here at the top. We'll add another little window right there, and then we're actually going to make the big window there. And that's why we did all this effort to make this all line up, because now we have a nice tall window on the side. We'll do the exact same thing here on the side as well, just to get the same effect. Of course, you can always leave these out if you don't like them, but we'll have some roofs here so they aren't visible above each other from the outside. Then we want to have the saloon doors down here if you like them, or just use normal doors if you prefer that look. And then the rest of this we can all change to the normal frontier skin. So just go around and change everything. Actually, on the back here, these windows we also want to change to the glass, just because I think that looks a lot better than having the normal windows. And if you want, you can also use some jail doors or any type of door you prefer here on the top. I just use this because I'm actually using it as a warehouse, and I just like the different look on the top here, like they're locking away the insides. And as you can see, once you've changed all the skins, it looks a million times better already. It looks like a proper little frontier house, and you got some decent space here on the inside. You would be able to fit like a industrial forge inside and a bunch of storage here as well. But of course, that's not all of it, so let's extend the building. We'll take out some more ceilings and go along the side, adding in 4. And then we want to make it a 4x4 actually, so we want to go around and get everything. But of course, we can't extend the ceilings by 4, so here in the middle, we want to add in some pillars just to make sure that we have the foundation support again. And then we can actually finish this 4x4 shape. We actually want to have one more here on the back corner so that we can have another access point to the whole build. But that is pretty much it. And then for the complete looks, I like to have some more pillars here on the corner to balance everything out. And then here on the little addition, we'll do the same as well. Now here on the side, I would add in a ramp, but this does depend on your landscape. Now I can only add in one, but I think on the other design, I have two before it hits the ground. So just adjust to your own location and your own needs there. Then we're actually going to place some quarter walls on some spots just to add in a few pillars that we want to have. So 2 right there, and then a couple here on the corner as well. That's just so that we can snap some thin pillars to the top of them, because that will allow us to get some nice borders for the railings that we're going to have. And in some places, you might want to consider just extending them all the way down. And afterwards, we can actually remove them because we only needed the snap point for the pillars that we want to have. And then in between, we can add in our railings, but they will just provide a nice little ending to these railings. And then also here in the front, we want to have some railings as well. Now it's time to grab our scaffolding and make some nice designs with this. We want to start out right here, and then we want to make sure that the next one we want to flip around, because that creates a nice little shape with the cross beams, which is just a little bit nicer. Of course, depending on your landscape, you might see more or less of this, but it's still worth to do it because it just looks nicer than having them all face the same way. So you want to basically just go around the whole platform and add these in. And especially here, you can see that it just looks a little bit nicer if you do it this way. And probably we also want to do that right here beneath this little walkway, just to make it all look quite supported as a platform. So once you've done it there, you want to also add them in right here on the front. And here again, you can see, you will see them a lot better. And then it's more important you do it this way. Then we want to change them to the sloped variations. And we can add them to the sides where we're going to have our staircases. Because obviously we need to be able to go down from this porch. So we'll have stairs going down on both of the sides. And actually we also want to connect these railings. I somehow did not do them before. So that's a pretty good start. Then we're going to add in some pillars here and there. The same on the other side as well, just to balance out our roof that we're going to place. So in the end, it should look something like this before we start adding in our roof. So we actually can snap the roof right to this place over here. That's why the windows are less noticeable. We can extend that by 4 before we add in the extra layer down here. And you can see this will line up perfectly with the pillars that we already placed down as well. So we'll do the same here on the other side. Fill in a little roof like that. And that basically gives us a little bit of a workshop to the side of the building. And of course, we want to also update all these textures to the frontier skins as well. And to match the other roof, actually, we want to also add in a beam here on the top and along the border of the roof, because it just adds a little bit of extra detail. And I kind of like the look in this style. And of course, then update these skins. And there we go. So that is a little addition to one of the sides of the building. Just adding in basically a little extra space for a workshop or more storage. And yeah, it just makes the building look even nicer. And now we're going to do the addition on the other side, which is going to be even slightly bigger than this. We want to again get started with some ceilings. This time, again, we're going to line it up the 4 alongside the building. But then we're going to go out by 9 in total. Of course, you can't go more than 3 at a time, but that kind of works perfectly, because then you can go 3 and then another 3 before adding in the pillars every time to get your support back for the building. And we do that a total of 3 times, of course, to get to the 9. And then we can just start filling in the whole building. You'll have to do the same kind of support on the other side, of course, before you can actually completely fill in the shape. But in the end, it should go all pretty smoothly. I like adding in another pillar right here just for the looks, because it makes the whole platform look more supported as well. And then, of course, we can fill in all the remaining ceilings to create our little addition, or well, it's a quite sizable addition, of course, and will give you a lot more room for extra storage or crafting stations. And then just as on the other side, we actually want to extend the back corner here as well, so that we can have a slope going down into the rest of the world. And of course, this will depend on your landscape. You can see right here, it's still a little bit floating, so probably want to add in the second layer as well, just so that you can actually get up and down. What you can also consider, actually, depending on the textures you like, is flipping them the other way around, because you will get slightly different textures. Then we're going to add in a couple of these quarter walls again, to get the snap points for some of our thin pillars, just as we did before on the other side, just to end in the railings in a nice way. We can remove them afterwards, of course, and then we can in fact add in the railings as well, alongside the entire platform, to keep you safe and prevent you from falling off all the time. Now, in theory, you could also extend this walkway up to here, so that you can easily get on and off if you want that, but I just decided for the looks it would be a little bit nicer if you didn't. But I mean, depending on what you're going to use it for, it might be more convenient to add that in anyway. And what you can actually do alongside the slopes, you might want to add in some more railings just to finish it and tie it all together. We actually might want to do the same here on the other side. I forgot that, but yeah, probably looks nicer because it makes it all more connected anyway. So now we have a platform looking like this. We're going to add in some more thin pillars right here on our other pillars, just for the support of the roof that we're going to be placing down in a little bit. We'll do the same here on the back. And then we pretty much have this whole shape finished, and we can start adding in the roofs as well, just as we did before. We'll line it up right here, and we can make it go down to the next layer so that it will line up with the supports that we just added for our roof, and we can make it go all the way until the end. So this is quite a big addition to our build, and this is where the majority of the room for storage or crafting tables, etc. will be. And yeah, I think it's quite a nice workplace because of that, because it fits very nicely in the Frontier theme, and you have a bunch of space to use. And it even looks good as a part of your train station, which is an added plus, of course, with the new DLC. So right now we have it looking like this, but of course we want to continue our scaffolding. So we want to make sure that we do the same trick that we did before. So lining it up, then flipping it around, going all the way across the front here. Just because that pattern looks a little bit nicer in my opinion than having them all face the same direction. And yeah, it's definitely a really nice addition to have this extra structure type, because it just looks really nice. And there we go. We've got all scaffolding alongside the bottom here. And then, of course, we also want to do it for the little addition that we have here on the side. And there we go. That is pretty much the entire platform done again. Again, we want to add in some beams alongside the roof here as a little bit of extra detail, as well as on the top here too, just as we did with the other roofs before. And of course, the same thing here on the back of the roof as well, just because I think it adds a little bit of extra details to it. Then here we actually want to add in a little billboard where you can add like a sign saying workshop or warehouse, whatever you want. You want to have 3 walls like so, and then have 2 quarter walls on each side to kind of blend it out and not make it stand out too much. And then what I really like to do is get some of the sloped wall scaffolding, so the triangles, and we can add them in as supports for this thing. I just think that looks really, really nice and makes it feel like you have like a proper billboard attached to the roof. Now, another way to add in more supports is actually going underneath here and lining them up with the pillars, and then just going on the bottom here of the roof like so, because it just looks like there's a couple of these supports going across your building. And actually, now that we're doing that, we might as well do the same on the other side, because again, I kind of forgot, but it does look a lot better, and it makes it just look more supported like a proper building, especially once it's fully upgraded to the right skins, of course. It fits in perfectly. Speaking about upgrading the skins, we can upgrade all these to the Frontier skins as well to see the final look of the edition that we've just added. And there we go, that is what the fully upgraded version looks like. It's a pretty nice workshop, and as I said, it works very well alongside the train tracks as well, because it kind of, you know, functions as a station or a warehouse, what I used it for. But the workshop will definitely work as well, because you have a bunch of space, both on the inside here, you can have some decent amount of storage on the side here as well. The same thing here, because this is a lot of space for you to place down storage, crafting stations, etc. Of course, if you want to use the upstairs bit from the inside, you want to add in a little ladder so you can actually get there. But other than that, we pretty much have the whole thing finished, and you should be able to get it working. Again, here you could probably add a nice little sign depending on what you're playing with. I myself use the Scribbles mod to get nice custom signs, but just the normal signs or the Frontier skin signs will work as well. And with that build being done, let's take a little tour of my version of this workshop, or warehouse as I've called it here, at my central train station. As you see, I placed it on top of a platform for my train tracks, and then it is a perfect addition as like a warehouse to your train station. Or you could even just use it as your train station building, of course. But you can see I've added in a bunch of details to bring it back to life. This is mostly for aesthetic purposes, like this is probably not the most useful way to actually decorate it if you're using it for survival, but it does look really good, and you could of course make it more catered towards survival, adding probably some vaults around, some more crafting stations, the industrial forge, etc, etc. But let's take a little tour of the place. So right here on the side you can see I have 2 ramps here before it actually reached my platform, and I flipped it with the bottom side up because I like the texture that way. And then we have the little addition here on the side with a bunch of random storage, a little bit of forges, and a crafting table right there, or the workshop, the smithy. You got a sign here as well. I don't like these signs because here it says to the exit, the right direction, but from the other side, yeah, it kind of doesn't work. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but we'll just ignore that for now. But definitely a good tip to add in some signs as well. You can also see that I added in some kind of crane by having 2 pillars on top of each other, then 2 beams sticking out, the piece of scaffolding in between, and then a metal thin pillar as like kind of the crane itself. I think it looks quite nice. So we got the front door right here into the storage. You can see a bunch of storage on the inside, a table with some more crafting stuff on both sides as well, and then the way to get up to the next layer here with some more decoration, and again the little crane I made for my train station here. But as I said before, even this building is big enough to house like a industrial forge, a generator, whatever, you know, whatever you need if you're actually going to use this for survival. We got some more crafting here and a bunch of storage, mostly aesthetically placed, not the most efficient way, but you know, I'm a builder. I just want it to look good. And but you could definitely place a bunch of stuff here if you're just playing survival, especially if you're playing with mods that usually have like a bunch of different workstations to craft things at. This would be great because you have so much space to place it all down. And then here at the end we again have the slope going back to the platform, which just works really well for me right here on top of the platform that I created for the train tracks. But yeah, as I said before, you can use it in multiple ways. I think it would be a perfect workshop or storage building as well if you're building a town or just want to use this as your main build as well. Because I definitely do really like the design of this build, and I just think it turned out really nice. So hopefully you enjoyed as well. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and if you want to show even more support, consider becoming a member, because that's currently the best way to support me and this channel going forward. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.